Now we're going to fillet a whole fish, and when we're buying our fish whole, fresh, you may find they still have the stomach inside, and this, if you buy your fish, the fishmonger will normally remove that for you if you ask him. The other things you need to look for to make sure your fish is fresh, the eyes should be nice and shiny and not dull and too sunken. The gills, if they still have them in, should be nice and a bright red, not a dark brown colour. And the fins should be still moist, not dry and breaking up. So we've got here a nice fresh trevally, and I'm going to go through and show you how to take the fillets off. We could also cut this one into darns, and for that we would simply cut straight through and cut through the bones, and that will give you a beautiful steak called a darn, or a cutlet of fish. Here we're going to take the fillets off and utilise the fillets. So for filleting a fish, the best knife to use for that is the fish filleting knife. If you haven't got one of these, just the chef's utility knife will work quite well. And if you haven't got that, the large chef's knife will work, but it's not as practical to use as the filleting knife. Now, we can lay that fish down, and with the tail to your right hand side, and we can start going in just near the tail, go through until you hit the backbone, and then you need to run that knife along the backbone. And if you can hold the knife at about 45 degrees, you'll find it will cut through the top skin at the fins here, and allow you to guide that knife through more easily. When you come to the stomach cavity, you've got ribs inside there, and you'll find it's easier just to go straight through the rib bones at the moment, and we'll take them out later. When you reach the head, and we've gone right through to the head here now, we need to remove this fins up here. So just go behind that first fin and down, follow the bone to the head. We can utilise these, take that off, we can utilise those, there's some meat in there along with the bone. Now we can cut down behind the head down to the backbone, and there is quite a bit of meat up here in this section, so don't cut straight through, take it through to utilise all that meat, and then that fillet will come away nice and clean. Not a lot of meat left on the bones, which is what you want. You can turn that over and do the same again, going the other way. Get your knife on the spine and run along, taking that meat off. If you lift up the belly flaps, you can go through those rib bones again, and I'll remove those next. Cut off, take the fins here, remove those, and cut down to where the meat behind the head is, and that fillet will come away. Right, so now you'll see the rib bones running down here. We need to remove those. So if you just run your knife through underneath them and take a very thin sliver of meat with the bone, and that will remove all of those rib bones. Try not to waste too much meat, and these pieces can be kept for our fish stock. Just check, you can feel the bones in there. There's one more left there, so we just go underneath it and remove that. Now, sometimes you want to remove the skin. If you don't want the skin on your fillet of fish, we can remove that, and the best way to do that is to lay that skin side down with the tail up to the left hand end, and we will simply cut through the meat until we reach the skin, and then hold the knife at a 45-degree angle against the skin and pull the skin, and try not to move the knife backwards and forwards because you'll cut through the skin. Wiggle the skin and the knife will run through between the flesh and the skin and remove that skin. So then the skin comes away, and that should be very clean without a lot of flesh on it, so that we're not wasting the meat. Let's remove the end off the belly, and now our fillet is almost boneless, but you will find there's a line of bones running through in the stomach section from the spine down to the skin, running through on just a little bit of an angle but running straight down. The best way to remove those is to simply feel the bones with your knife and cut down beside the bones, and they only go up to where the belly section was, or where the rib bones are. Cut down to the skin on the other side, and then run down the other side of the bones so that you take a very thin sliver of meat out, and all of the bones are in that sliver of meat. So there we have all of those bones, and now we have a fillet of fish that has no bones left in it. Just check, and if there's some left, one there, just remove that, and there is a clean, fresh, beautiful fillet of trevally ready for us to cook.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Do we want to